How's it? Today is Tuesday, March 29th. I am back squatting and some overhead press today. Um, so I talked with Steve earlier today just to figure out what was going on with my knee. I actually talked to a few of the therapists at work as well to figure out what's going on with my knee. This morning, the symptoms itself were a lot better than last night. It didn't feel like I could recreate the symptoms of like my knee kind of almost giving out. So that is a good sign. They had me do a bunch of single leg squats, so I did like 7 pistol squats on each leg for them to kind of analyze my movement and stuff like that. And then one of the therapists said like if I can do that many single leg squats with relative ease, then there's probably not a lot of things wrong with my knee itself. So they said not to worry, which is I think is good advice because I don't know. I am trying not to be super negative about how my knee feels, but it is a little worrisome just the fact that it did happen altogether. So, with all that said, Steve was saying maybe to just do something super light for my back squat today for 5 fives. So we're doing 130 for 5 fives. This isn't even 300 pounds. So this is like super light and it gives me a chance to focus more on my technique. Um, what I'm trying to do here is just allow my hips to drop back a little bit so that I can maintain that position. So the position out of the hole is the position I want to get to as soon as possible, as far as like my back angle. And if I'm able to maintain that, then typically my knees themselves feel a little bit better, and my hip activate. I guess my hip activation is independent of where my hips track back and forth, if that makes sense to me. Because I can have my knees push in and my knees push out, almost independent of where my hips are. Obviously, my knees push in to allow my hips to push back. That kind of, if you think about the angle that my leg makes to my upper thigh, then it makes sense that that is kind of the what's happening. So maybe if I am thinking a little bit more concretely about where I am placing my knees and stuff, then my hips itself, or sorry, the other way around, my hips, more conscious of where my hips are, then my knees will sort of correct themselves. I think generally speaking, these squats are pretty good. I actually videoed my last set from the side because one of the therapists asked to see the video from the side, so I'm gonna try to show it to her tomorrow. Here's my fifth set here. You can see what I was talking about here. So my knees do get into valgus, and then what happens as it gets into valgus is my hip pushes a little bit back. Um, it's not as bad as it used to be, most definitely, but it is something that still does happen, and I think that actually what she was mentioning was that a lot of times if you have sort of an ideal technique, if you deviate from it but you're not hurting and you're able to make it work, then is it really bad? That's what she was saying. And like it's interesting to think about because as a physical therapist, she is trained to be like this is what is anatomically and physiologically like optimal. This is the way that the muscle itself should work. But at the end of the day, if you are able to make it work um, abnormally with no pain, is it really bad? That's what she was saying. I didn't really get a chance to like actually discuss that with her, um, because I think that at a certain point it is fine, but then once you push it to an extreme, then it is obviously bad because, well, not obviously bad, but it could be bad because um, maybe you're not as efficient as you could have been, or at a high enough intensity, high enough load, then the weight itself could negatively impact the rest of your body or the movement pattern itself. So that is something I think about all the time. After my squats, I just worked up to 5 sets of 5 for my overhead press at 60. Nothing too spectacular there. And then instead of doing dips today, I did cable press downs just because I didn't want to set up the dip bar. and then my weighted back extensions here to finish off. All in all, my knee felt fine, so I am worried a lot less than I was last night. But I do think I still need to be careful for the rest of the week, and I guess for the rest of eternity. Um, it kind of sounds silly, but it's true. Not much else to say about today. So that's it. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Shoots.